I need a list.
First of all, I want to start off like I usually do, thanking our area scouts and our crossover scouts just for the work they do during the year. It's amazing the amount of information that they give to us to make our decisions easier. The passion they show, 200 nights on the road, hotels, missing birthdays, a lot of stuff goes into it. A lot of stuff that you guys don't see that I get to see on a daily basis. So just want to let them know I appreciate their work. So, and now, as has become custom, where do we start? Third round, Nathan Boehm. So Nathan, we had a wide range on him. We had a value on similar to like we did last year with Mustard, Spellacy, and Pridham. We knew there was a value we weren't going to chase in the second round, but if he was there, then it was worth a shot. He's 6'2", he had 35, 36 goals in the Western League, only 6 on the power play, so he can score. Skating is good, powerful, like we talked about last night, not like a Nazar Moore in that sense, but just a strong skater. He can score. That's his calling card. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 45, 50 in Kamloops this year. So he's got a brain, so he could play with smart players. Sometimes he goes in and out a little bit. That's obviously why he was in the third round. But at that value for a guy that can score goals, if we thought, again, we didn't chase it, didn't cost us anything, we had to pick. So we went that way. In the fourth round, we took Julius Sumpf out of Moncton. Saw him a lot, obviously, watching Caleb Desnoyers. He was Caleb's winger. He played for Germany in the World Juniors. Big guy, can skate well. Right now, I believe he's going to Providence College. We obviously have a good relationship with Nate Lehman. John Mustard's there. Tage Harding was there. But that Moncton's still trying to keep him for that overage year. But good player. He played both when Desnoyers had the injured wrists all year. Julius was the guy taking the faceoffs. He was a center for Germany in the World Juniors, but probably a winger. But again, 6'2", can skate. Parker Holmes, who we set the world on fire, I guess, because everyone was looking at his stat line. He had a shoulder surgery in November, same surgery that Cancer Off and Van Acker had. And again, this is where you lean on your scouts in those areas. And Jimmy McKellar, who is our OHL scout, like he knows the OHL better than anybody in the league. And we wanted to continue to get bigger, and we wanted some guys that had an element, hardness, toughness, and Parker certainly fills that role. And again, when you go through these character assessments, we're fortunate to have Nick Lardis there and Marek Van Acker. So when I call them and talk to them, and they endorse it like, yeah, this kid's not fake tough. He's hard. He's got to recover from the injury. So where he is in that process, I think he's skating. He'll obviously be in for development camp, but I don't know where, as far as rookie camp or any of that stuff, where that stands. And he'll go back to Brantford. So, and then that was what, fourth? Yeah. Fourth, fifth, we didn't have. Sixth, Ashton Cumby. Yes. Did you watch him on video?
Yeah, there were a lot of videos. It was dangerous.
Yeah, he's, again, it goes back. We had, in our conversations with Kyle and Norm, there was we felt the need to get a little bit harder, tougher, maybe to protect some of our skill guys. And it was very clear to us when you go through the combine interview process, and you know what you're trying to find, you ask other players around the league, like, who's the toughest guy in the OHL, who's the toughest guy in the Western Hockey League, whatever league it may be, without a hesitation, every kid in the Western League was Cumby. And he's hard, he plays hard. But he has holes, right? Like it's, when you're in the sixth round, the skating's got to get a little bit better. But he's a big kid. He's 6'5", 215 pounds right now. But if he had 9 fights, I think, this year. He had 13 last year. We felt, again, at that time, we could add a little toughness and took a chance on it. And then seventh round was Ilya Konarski, goalie. And I value Dan, even though I was a goalie, Daryl May was a goalie, I value Dan Ellis a lot. And he works, free agency, draft picks, trades for all our goalies. And as he was watching the kid Zarubin that was drafted last year, I forget who drafted Zarubin, but Konarski was the other goalie on the team, and he felt like Konarski just kept outplaying him this year, outplaying him. And again, with a Russian, you have his rights for ever. So, a 6'3" goalie at that size, and just kind of see where it falls. So, questions?
Seem like a lot of overage guys.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell, like, we tried to move around a lot, but there was and it just goes to the draft this year and to a degree next year, there's a little bit of, so you just got to kind of, they're still eligible, right? So they're eligible for 3 years, so it doesn't matter when you take, Andrew Shaw, we took after 2 years, so when their time's ready, it's ready, so, and again, with multiple picks, Kyle said it, tons. I mean, we have volume. We can take chances on guys, especially in those rounds. Other team, we're not doing anything different than any other teams. We're trying to identify traits that we like and take a shot.
Collectively, the size obviously kind of stands out. Is that something you guys discussed heading into this draft, that there was an opportunity?
I'll say it every year. You guys discuss it more than we do.
But you did mention.
Yeah. Size. I mean, you want to be bigger. I mean, it's when you get into the playoffs, there's not a lot of room out there, and so we were fortunate to get those bigger guys. I even like last year, I don't consider Mustard at 6'1" or Pridham at 6'1". I don't consider those guys small guys, but we wanted to get harder, and usually the harder guys are the bigger guys. So that was kind of where we went.
Will Ashton go back to Seattle, or?
I would defer to Kyle and Norm on that, because I'm not sure, because he's been through drafts, so I don't know where his contract status falls. So I don't know. I think he can play in Rockford, but I think he can also go back as an overager. So I don't, I'll let them figure that out.
Is a guy like that expecting to get a call on draft day when he's already gone?
Yeah, again, it's like, we don't just like do this, right? And like these people, he had a PTO with Pittsburgh to go to rookie camp, you know what I mean? So we had extra picks, and as Colin Frazier and Cal Filson are interviewing these kids and talking to agents, you find out there's 5, 6, 7, 8 teams interested in these players at certain parts of the draft. So that's kind of where we felt comfortable doing it. So we did it. So.
What did you see from Julius in the playoffs that kind of helped put him on your radar more?
No, he's all Peter Nevin, who lives out there, and he's saw Julius and Caleb doing the air more than anyone, because Moncton's his home game, and it was just, the line was Desnoyers, Sumpf, and I think it was Pekarchuk that St. Louis drafted last year or 2 years ago, and they were just they were all 6'2" plus. They were just a big line. I think he led the Quebec League in goals in the playoffs, 10 or 11 or something like that. So it's just, he just plays a power, hard game. Love the fact that he's going to Providence, because I just think the way Nate Lehman coaches, they're a match made in heaven. He plays that direct, hard game. So.
It seems like you guys have, over the years, kind of liked drafting some of the more raw guys.
Mm-hmm.
Levshinov, Rinzel going back further, the two West and Westersill last night.
Mm-hmm.
What about, do you feel like that is kind of part of the philosophy, that you guys feel like those raw guys who have maybe more room to grow, you can find good value in them?
Yeah, it still goes back to our traits, right? Like, we like guys that have a brain, that can skate, that have an IQ, that is skilled, right? So they're 17 years old for the majority, right? Even the ones that have been through drafts are 19 and 20. And so when we're just very confident, if we stick to the traits, that's going to give ourselves a better chance to hit on a player. So that kind of, that's kind of where it just ends up falling. We just trade. It's always with us guys. I say it till I'm blue in the face. Guys are sick of hearing it. Stick to the traits. Stick to the traits. Stick to the traits. So, but as you get up further into drafts, like, some guys don't skate as well as other guys. Some guys aren't as competitive as other guys. So it's kind of, the traits kind of decrease a little bit. They still have the trait, but it's lesser of that trait, if that makes sense.
Do you feel like that's kind of a market inefficiency, where other teams are looking for guys who maybe more ready, and you have the luxury to?
No, it's if you hit, if you hit two out of your picks in a year, like you're a Hall of Famer. Like, it's just, you're dealing with 17-year-old kids, so they're going to change so much over the 5 years. Like, I had someone text me yesterday, just saying, remember, it's a 5-year process. Like, that's why I laugh when I get my C pluses and my A minuses and everything else, because it changes from year to year, and it's just, you know, it gets comical to a degree. Because and I might have told you guys a story. When I first got the job in 09-10, I was eager, and I asked somebody, before I was on the clock, so they just had a draft in June, and I was like, how'd we do with the Blackhawks? He said, I don't know, ask me in 5 years. And that was the 2009 draft, so I don't even know who would have been in that. So, but they're 17. I've had 17, I don't know how old your children are, but I've had a 17-year-old son at home, and you just kind of like,
Having a brain is a rarity.
a rarity. It's like, even at 22, it's a rarity. So it's, you know, you just, you know. But they all we're happy with the whole group that we got. They all fill certain needs. Again, I've said I'm not naive enough to think they're all going to make it, but we thought we added some pieces that we value, that we thought we needed going forward.
Did you find that, going into your fourth draft, that you have, obviously you have a larger collection of prospects, that it was starting to see complementing, or what, I guess early on when you guys were drafting, that it was, obviously we need to fill everything out.
Mhm.
It's also kind of knowing what's in the pipeline and what's.
Yeah, I think that's what you tend to do when you roster management, right? As you guys know, when we came, and I was part of, you know, the old regime that was drafting, like, this was empty. There was nothing there. It was just get as many players that fit the traits and how we want to play as a team. And when you start doing that, and then you start seeing them come through the door here and how they play, and then you can kind of be like, okay, you know, we need a little bit bigger wingers. We need a little bit more hardness. Skating's always been a trait of ours. So it's, maybe we don't need a burner as much. We need a powerful skater, but a different skater. So it's, you're able to, when you see, and I think Kyle alluded that last night, about just, we thought percentage-wise, we were just a little bit of, you know, ahead of where we thought we should be with the draft picks. So you can start, okay, how does, like, a guy like Frondell look? How would he look over here on a power play? And you can kind of see your team and your prospect pool coming together.
When you have a guy like Rinzel, I mean, a lot of people saw as a reach, you know, when he
Mhm.
first come into the league, and he looks as well, as good as he did.
Mhm.
Is there some, like, a feeling of, is that just, like, the most satisfaction you can have when it's not
Yeah,
like the number 2 pick?
yeah,
Like the 25th pick?
Yeah, it is. Like, I've had this conversation with, like, and I thank you guys for putting it out there when I said it's going to be a long runway, and it's, you know, it's going to take time and patience with Sam, and he's, you know, it's a small sample size still, but it's, yeah, we all like our players to hit. Like, it's, you really feel, you get your chest out a little bit, especially when you're part of it, and I read all the same stuff, and so no one ever says, geez, let's give him an A+ now for Sam Renzel versus,
Go back in.
yeah, so no one ever does that. So, yeah, it's, I mean, we all want to succeed, right? Like, we all want the Blackhawks to be awesome, and we all want our prospects and all the scouts in the area, they pound the table, they all want their guys to do really well. It's contagious. So it's kind of, you know, when you get guys like we have coming around, and you see, you know, we're playing in Montreal, and all those young kids are in it, and what they're doing, and how much that game meant for Montreal, and you see Nazar score the goal in the shootout, and, you know, kind of, it's fun, because it's like, you feel more of a part of it, so.
To that Renzel part, it seems like you're getting a little bit of that with Mason West.
Yeah, it's different with Mason because of the football element. So if you took the football piece out of it, it mirrors it very well. Both Minnesota high school, both played some time their draft year in the USHL, Sam in Waterloo and Mason in Fargo. But they're tremendous athletes. And again, they happen to be the third pick of ours in their respective drafts. And it just becomes a time where it's just when you're projecting on what they could be, the athletic part of it takes over, and the size and what they could be. So, but very similar outside of the football piece.
But I mean, in terms of people questioning, you know, that move.
No, because I only think people are questioning the, if Mason West was just a hockey player coming out of Fargo, he's gone by 20. The only reason Mason West was where Mason West was because of the football piece.
You know, there was some chatter about, you know, maybe you guys using your draft capital, like maybe in the trade market, was there some discussion in the war room about, trying to get somebody who's,
That's not my gig. I sit next to Kyle for 2 days, and he tries to make trades to move up, move down, move pieces for next year, whatever it may be, and I don't think anything came through that no one called us and said, you want to give us 5 picks for this or whatever, so,
no,
this
I
player.
mean, like,
Yeah.
for an established.
No, not to my knowledge. I don't.
When you're getting to like the 5th and 6th and 7th round so late, are you just going based off the list of like, hey, this guy, and like, are you projecting that him to be there if it's like 10 picks away? Like what's the variety of?
Yeah,
those guys
I mean, we
that-
have, the list is huge, right? Like, it's, every team's list is big to an extent with how your traits of the team on how you want to build and stuff like that. And you put, a lot goes into, the on ice, what you see, the analytics, what we see, where their value is, and then ultimately with the scouts in that area. So we kind of come up with where we're really comfortable taking players. And, sometimes we've traded up and got other stuff because we felt we really liked the guy we had to, and other times we felt we could sit tight and just let the draft come to us, and there was players in a range that we liked. So, but that happens anywhere from the 3rd round on, because names start flying off the board quick, and you just, so.
With you saying that Wes would have been gone earlier if not for the football stuff,
Mhm.
I know he says he's 100% committed to hockey, but if he goes out and has, the greatest high school football season ever, like, is that a concern at all?
Yeah, I think it would always be a concern. Norm McIver asked him in the combine and said, you are going back to play football at a diner, and you're a 6'6" quarterback, and if you throw for 500 one night and Tom Brady calls you and is like, hey, Michigan might be a pretty good option, like, what do you think? He said, no, I'm a hockey player. I made a commitment to my school. I made a commitment to my friends. They've been very loyal. Edina's been very loyal to me. I don't think, this is Mason, he's saying I don't think it's going to be an issue going forward. So, but he's a very loyal kid, doesn't forget where he comes from, so he felt he had a commitment level to make to Edina's football program.
And you guys
So.
are totally cool with him playing football despite the injury. I think that's unusual. High-level asset like that.
Yeah, I know Kyle mentioned last night that he was open to having a talk with his advisors and the family and see where they are now that he's gone in the 1st round. So again, I'll leave that up to him. Like, if Kyle thinks it's okay for him to play football, and it's okay for him to play football. So I know Michigan State doesn't. I mean, a different element, obviously. I talked to Michigan State this morning. They don't have a concern with it. So, it's not. I know it's not playing in the NFL or the SEC, right? It's high school football, like, so. But we'll see. We'll see. When you see him, you'll be like, he might not get hurt. He's a big guy. But yeah, so I mean, there's risk in anything. Like, he could go to Fargo in November, blow his knee out, and never play hockey again, or he could do it on the football field. So it's, there's risk, and we were willing to take that risk at that time.